Let's start with the night manager.
Oh, go on then.
Which Gary has literally just finished watching.
Yeah.
Before we
So
started.
your thought process is all the names and all the will all be there because.
All right, I reckon I can do it.
Do you want to do the preamble on this one?
Yeah, let Gary do the preamble.
This is based on a book by John le Carre, who is a famous spy writer, and stars Tom Hiddleston. Tom Hiddleston is the main lead. He plays a hotel night manager, hence the name of the show, who gets embroiled in something to do with the Arab Spring when Egypt is being first liberated from its President Mohammed. Is it Mubarak?
Yep, very good.
Yeah, the Prime Minister.
And
he gets caught up in a situation where he ends up with some documents in his possession that show that a very famous philanthropist called John Roper played wonderfully.
Almost Richard Roper.
Richard Roper. I knew there was a
He's
little.
so close. I almost feel like giving him that one.
But played very well by Hugh Laurie. He basically turns against this guy Roper. He basically dobs him into the British intelligence that this guy Roper is providing people in Egypt with arms, napalm, and all sorts of equipment to sort of retake over Egypt. He then moves to a hotel after a woman he becomes involved with gets killed. He moves to a hotel in Switzerland. Do we really find out why that is, or does he just
like
kind of
leave? 5 years or so in the future, isn't it? It moves forwards.
We assume he moved because it was very difficult for him.
Well, he does mention that he worked at other hotels in the interim, like in Italy and stuff like that.
Tangiers and all that. He's now working at a hotel in Switzerland, and this Richard Roper turns up as a guest. He decides to contact British intelligence again, the person that he contacted 5 years ago, which happens to be Olivia Colman. And he's kind of, throughout the episode, is agreeing to provide evidence of Mr. Roper's inside trading. He starts off with phone numbers, doesn't he? With
SIM cards.
Burner phone codes that Richard Roper throws into a champagne bottle. And the episode ends with him meeting up with Olivia Colman and kind of agreeing for her to be his handler.
The knitwear-clad, pregnant Olivia Colman.
Yes, she did.
Whose character in the book was actually a man, Leonard Burr, and they changed it for this to have a bit of variety.
You never see Olivia Colman on the telly either, is...
They killed off the only other.
Well, this is the announcement this week that Sean Dooley will be in the new series of DCI Banks.
Oh, thank God! I was worried about him. We haven't seen him for ages.
Again, he's not getting any work. I found this very good. I mean, I have to say, I'm not a huge fan of John le Carre stuff. I hated Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy as a movie. I found it tedious and boring. But I've read Smiley's People and Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy the book, and I thought Tom Hiddleston was very good and very believable as.
He's very much. This to me feels like his audition for James Bond almost.
Yeah,
a lot of people are saying that.
Although I think he'd be better as Q.
What I felt on this it almost to me felt like an hour-long prologue to the rest of the series.
Yeah, it was a build-up.
Especially the stuff in Egypt, which I never got on board with. I didn't really believe the romance between him and the girl Sophie.
It was very portrayed, wasn't it? I mean, she was chasing him.
I mean, it felt like the guy who's adapting it, he sort of struggled to know where to sort of, end this episode sort of thing. It's quite hard to adapt a novel for TV rather than, as you mentioned, Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, they did as a film a couple of years ago. What I liked was the second half in Switzerland when we got more from Richard Roper. Hugh Laurie and Tom Hiddleston together were very good.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to watching some more of the series. I think this is like that scene at the end with Olivia Colman and Tom Hiddleston. It's like this is where it's sort of starting properly now. We've got all the sort of pieces in place. Obviously, it looks really good. I think the direction from Suzanne Bier is good as well. I quite enjoyed it. I know Luke, though, wasn't a fan.
It was just a bit style over substance for me. I
would disagree with that.
Well, you can. I mean, I'll punch you in the face.
It's not.
What if I disagree and gang up on you?
It's not Sky Atlantic style over substance.
No, it's not quite.
No.
I suppose it's worth saying that it's a co-production, isn't it? BBC
and you're not a fan of spy stuff either. This isn't your.
I watched all of Spooks.
Yeah.
And I watched. I mean, I wouldn't watch stuff like. I tried stuff like London Spy and just.
But this isn't the sort of genre you're into. You prefer character-led pieces, really. And this isn't.
I think this is going to be slow. There's not going to be action.
I wouldn't say it's slow.
But I think for Luke's purposes, it's going to be complex and
Luke
quite stupid. I mean,
Luke
quite.
Luke likes slow drama, don't you? You don't mind.
Yeah. I don't mind it, depending on... I mean, Deutschland 83 was a spy drama that I liked, and nobody asked on the podcast, which is fine. It's good.
No, I
when we
liked it. I just
disagree.
haven't seen it all yet.
Yeah, if you liked it enough, though, you would have sought it out to see the rest. I just thought some of the acting was a bit poor. Some of it, the girlfriend or the woman that pursued him was really bad.
Yeah, I didn't like her.
Well, that's what I said. And all the stuff in Egypt was just a bit like you could have probably done that in about 5 minutes.
All a bit tongue in cheek for me.
When she got killed, I was like, okay. I didn't really see her.
I think I felt exactly the same. So I think though, I'm going to certainly give it another episode and see where it goes.
Yeah,
definitely.
Because it felt like this episode was all set up. There wasn't any sort of proper action in it. It was all like establishing everything.